Welcome to today's episode. My name is Siyabonga Myeza, climate and energy campaigner for Greenpeace Africa. Today we're talking environmental justice, real people, real solutions, and real impact. And to unpack one of the very, very hard topics when you talk about environmental justice, because it's environmental, it's social, it's economic, and many other injustices. But today, we're going to take it closer to communities, closer to where we live and how we're experiencing the injustices. But most importantly, what are ordinary people in South Africa doing about the injustices they are facing? To unpack this, I'm with my amazing co-hosts, I would call you. I'm with Clerah, Sethole, and Boitumelo. And just to make sure that I don't do any injustice on their work and their acolytes, I would like them to introduce themselves. Clerah, who is Clerah and where do you come from?
Sanbonani Dumelang. My name is Clerah Sethole. I'm a co-founder of Exclusively Inclusive Foundation, an organization that focuses on advocacy and raising awareness on ADHD and dyslexia. I am the Gauteng Youth Advisory Panel under the Office of the Premier, deployed under the Department of Social Development and Department of Health and Wellness. I am also the Madam Speaker of Youth Sector Parliament and an advocate for young people. Every issue pertaining to young people, I actually want to be on the forefront to understand what young people are going through, whether it be climate energy, whether it be poverty alleviation, whether it be unemployment, whether anything that has to do with young people. I'm one of those who really want to get their hands dirty to engage with the young people. Yes. So that's who Clerah is.
Lovely to meet you, Clerah. Wow, what a busy person. How many hours in a day do you have, Clerah?
28.
Because
24 is not enough. I have 28 hours.
You know
amazing.
Yeah.
Boitumelo, who's Boitumelo? And I mean, where do you come from? What sparks you?
Tshimologo Boitumelo, the founder of Rise the Phoenix Recreational Center for the Community. We are based in Soweto, Meadowlands. Just like Clerah, I work with children. I work with underprivileged children. We do drug rehabilitation, treatment, and early intervention with young children, school-going children. And we also facilitate for active users to get assistance through SANCA and other private rehabilitations and treatment centers. And I love the youth. I want to protect the youth, and I want to remind the youth that the world is theirs, and that's the work we do at Rise the Phoenix. What sparks me, you said, didn't
Yes, please.
What sparks me is to see my people win. You know, I'm from a very disadvantaged community in Meadowlands, and it's poverty everywhere I look. It's injustice, it's drug and substance abuse. So I'm here to be an activist against all those social ills, especially pertaining to children and the youth.
Wow. You can see today we're in for a treat. Like, these ladies are on a roll, they are doing things, they are shakers. But I want us to really look at what they said and what they do, and then bring another someone would say, ad hoc or peculiar concept, climate change or climate crisis, which is a huge part of environmental justice. And funny enough, maybe another person may not know that all these issues you mentioned, drugs, children, poverty, all these are linked very closely to climate change.
Absolutely.
And hopefully within the conversation we'll get to it. But coming to you, Clerah, you coming from the West Rand, a broad sense, but you come from a specific community in Matlakeng, right? And I know that in the West Rand broadly, it's a mining host community. Mining has been happening for decades.
For years, yeah.
And more or less, it's very, very less now. So it kind of in the edge of being a ghost town where mines used to be. Now the community is experiencing sinkholes, among other many things. So what are children in mining-affected communities experiencing that most people never know?
So zooming into one community that I grew up in Khutsong in Carltonville. So that is the one town that really has been affected by mining. And now we see it as a ghost town because not a lot is happening now in Khutsong. When we look at Khutsong as a whole, we look at it as it was once a town that was buzzing with mining and investors were coming in because it was contributing to the economy. But when you look at Khutsong now, you would never say that we contributed to the economy because nothing is happening there. We were having a conversation the last time when taxi fares were going up and we were looking at the fees. The reason why even taxi fares go as high as 20 rands and coming to Joburg is 90 rands is because nothing is happening there. Absolutely nothing is happening there. When you look at the children in that respective community, it's like we're on our own. Because you never know what's going to happen tomorrow. You don't know whether tomorrow you're going to wake up and there's a sinkhole just next to your house and then you are expected to leave because that's what's going to happen. You can't sit there and say, well, I'm going to blame the government or I'm going to blame the private sector, the people who looted from these respective communities. So you can imagine how uncertain our children are. You don't know whether you're going to be there for another 50 years or it's going to happen tomorrow to you or the children just don't know what's going to happen.
And the uncertainty.
You're unsure whether you should plan your life, even the family life in their respective homes. You don't know whether when you are now financially able to extend your parents' house, do you want to extend your parents' house? What if that particular house is affected? It sinks. Now it's a drawback. So we look at those households where those families were affected and they had to move. And we need to understand you're not just moving your house. It's your life.
It's your entire life.
It's your entire life. It's your heritage. It's your... there's a lot of history that comes from us black people and our homes. So it really affects our children. It affects the elders. It affects everyone in that respective community. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Boitumelo, the first time I met you, it was about water. Water shortage, inequality, and many things around water, and just the injustice of how the communities where you come from are disproportionately English. Disproportionately ban. So please tell us, man, how does water inequality actually looks like on day-to-day basis in Alexandra, Meadowlands, etc. Because please just give us a picture and tell us what are exactly people going through.
Let me tell you, water inequality is another layer of poverty. In these townships, in rural areas, in disadvantaged communities, there's already existing poverty. People are struggling, and now they don't even have water. So water inequality looks like people not having running tap water coming out of their taps. It looks like the taps being dry for weeks on end. It looks like even when the water does come out, it's toxic water. It's got arsenic, it's got traces of fecal matter, it's got, now we've just found out that there's ARV treatment that's being contaminated into the water. There's just so many things, right? Our waterways, our natural waterways are contaminated by local businesses, unmaintained. The government doesn't care about what's going on with our people, let alone now that the government knows that there's no water coming out of taps. They still don't make sure that the people in the community have clean and accessible natural waterways.
Yeah, like clean waterways, swimmable rivers.
Correct. Water inequality looks like people, and in the townships, people live, multiple people in one space, right? So there's no cooking, there's no washing up, there's no hygiene. It just becomes a chaotic, unhygienic mess. And that creates not only another level of poverty, but the anxieties and the depressions that our people are living with, which then people try to numb themselves. They turn to alcohol, then they turn to other drugs to use, So it is a perpetual vicious cycle. Yeah.
So would you say all these things you mentioned now, Boitumelo, are the ones that pushed you to become an activist on water justice, or there are other issues that we may not be aware of?
Yeah. Well, initially in 2015, when I began working in the community, the issue was children just being left to their own devices during school holidays. You know, you'd see kids just scattered everywhere during school holidays. And we know that there's predators, we know that there's so many things that are a danger to children, right? And then also realizing how my community was just drunk and high. You know, these same children that are scattered in the street, their parents are sitting in the taverns. So that for me was my beginning of activism, trying to remove the children from the streets, because there's so much danger in the streets. And then realizing that addiction and mental illness in my community is rife. And then focusing on that and dealing with people that were in active addiction, like I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
And then there's just so much activism that's required, that you can't say I'm just a water warrior or I'm a climate justice. There's just a lot
It's just a lot combined in one
work.
space.
Correct.
And I think climate change or the climate crisis really compound these issues that we are seeing.
Yeah.
One person can say, oh, it's drug addiction or it's children disability, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when you look from the lens of the climate crisis, it just makes it bigger
Yes,
and
it
more
is.
amplified
True.
and more strenuous for people living in
Correct.
some level of squander, of some level of inequality. Clerah, how does climate change really affect children with disabilities differently from, like, we know that children are suffering in different ways, as you mentioned within the work that you do, but you said something specific about children with disabilities, and that's what your organization is also pushing. How does climate change manifest itself there, and how does these children experience it differently?
So children with learning disabilities, what we always tell people is, you know, when we look at issues as adults as a whole, and we look at how children look at problems, we always think we look at problems in a different lens. What we don't understand, children have moved away from this paradigm that you see them, but you don't talk to them, or you just see them, they're there. But you will be shocked that when you sit down and talk about climate change, they do understand what you're talking about.
Absolutely.
And when you say to them, you know, when the weather is like this, we used to, our parents saying, no, winter's going to run long this year.
Yeah.
Because things have changed. Why is summer, why does it feel like summer's going to come sooner? And you see our children being conscious of such things, that actually it's cold, but it's not that cold. So clearly what Gogo was saying, that summer's going to come quick, it's happening. And now they understand, maybe it's because there's so much pollution that is happening.
Yes.
Maybe it's because, especially in mining towns, maybe these mine dumps are the ones affecting the climate in our respective area in the West Rand. Because when it's cold, it gets really cold. And when it's hot, it gets really hot. So they do get to understand where we come from and where other people are completely different places because of the climate challenges that we have in these respective spaces. So we now need to zoom into the problems that we have as mine towns. What is it that is happening in our mining towns that is different from what it's happening in Braamfontein, for example? So now they're able to really zoom in and say, the reason why 1, 2, 3 is happening is because we have mine dams. The reason why 1, 2, 3 is happening because we don't have enough water. There is, they're able to pinpoint problems that are there, because when you look at children with learning disabilities, especially ADHD, as soon as you engage with them and say, let's look at climate change, for example, now they're able to hyper focus and dissect a problem bit by bit. So that is one superpower that we have with them, that we know when we engage on a certain topic and they are interested in that particular topic, we are really going to hyper focus on this one topic until we are able to clearly dissect and see what the problem is.
I'm hearing here that there's a lot of knowledge and awareness within children, and particularly with children with learning disabilities, which is really incredible. And I think as we talk about environmental justice and particularly the climate crisis, which is the drive of everything, we have a mind there, not the mind that we know, but a proper one with solutions and zeal to create change. Absolutely amazing. Boitumelo, I remember, as I said earlier, the first time I met you was around the water campaign, and we were doing a lot of work around that because, I mean, Johannesburg was running out of water completely.
Yep.
Well, at least we would not have water for days
on
which is
end.
in Johannesburg,
Yeah.
which I believe in the townships that was a norm.
Yeah.
Actually, it had escalated
Yeah,
because
to
Johannesburg was
suburban
feeling
areas.
it. Because, again, the class issue is something that we need to
Yes.
talk about when we talk about climate change and related, man. So now, tell us about the experience when you went to that minister's office. There's this video, amazing one, when we were doing a step in, doorstepping.
Yeah.
But it was incredible. How was that experience?
Well, it was absolutely fulfilling. Absolutely, like, it made not just me, but the entire team feel like we are really taking a step towards fighting for our people. Because we had gone to Yaske River and learned about it from the security guards, the people that watch over Yaske River. We learned about how it has not been checked or maintained by the community in over a decade, by the government in over a decade, and then the community uses it as a dumping site, you know? So it was highly contaminated. We went there, got a glass of dirty Yaske water, took it to the Ministry of Water in Pretoria, and we were looking for the minister, who was then Pemi Majitan. Luckily, she was not in office, but they sent us someone. And we put our memorandum forward, and we let them know that we had brought her a cup of dirty water so that she can understand how people at the grassroots, people in Alexander, are suffering. Right now, there was no water. When we went, there was no water coming out of the taps in Alexander. So people were forced to use that dirty Yaske water to live. So we wanted to give her that opportunity. But luckily, when I say fulfilling, is that almost immediately after we had that action, she was removed from her post, the minister. So we don't know if it has anything to do with us or if just the stars were aligned. You know, her time had come. It's Chai now. So, yeah, that's what was fulfilling about it, because it really felt like we had made a difference. Like we took a stand and it shifted things in the paradigm. So it was incredible. And I would say that to anybody who is at the grassroots at home, you need to know that you have the power. The power is in your hands to hold these government sectors and leaders, to hold them accountable. You are the one that casts the vote and decides who is your leader. So we need to be conscious of who we put in positions of leadership, because look at where we are right now. Water is being commoditized. The reason why there's an issue right now with water, 1 minute there's water, the next minute there's no water, and especially for disadvantaged communities, is because sooner or later they're going to be saying, you have to buy water. This is the amount you have to pay every month so that the government can open your tap. So we need to be really smart and be ahead of it, you know?
I think it's the same thing with in mining affected communities. At some point, if we are not careful, we'll be buying clean air.
Correct.
And clean air.
Clean air. Oh,
Pollution. And Boitumelo, you touch a little bit on just the craziness that we're still talking about water issues in 2026.
Yeah.
What exactly is failing? What's in your exposure and just observation? Why?
Yeah.
Why are we still having water issues in 2026?
The narrative is the pumps. That the pump stations, some of them are not working. There's just one that's working and supplying all of Joburg. The issue is the pipes. That's what they say. The issue are the pipes. The pipes need to be maintained. They need to be renewed and so forth. But I think it's a lie. I think they want to commoditize water. I think they want to start selling water to people who cannot even afford to eat. You know? So I think we need to be ahead of it. Yeah, we need to be to prepare ourselves and start storing water, harvesting water, rainwater, learning how to purify water ourselves so that we don't find ourselves. You know, there's people that don't even have drums with water.
For storage.
Just for
storage.
storage.
Magne shortage.
Unkosi
You
yami.
have something for the toilet.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Which I think we need a lot of awareness.
We need awareness.
Because privatization of natural resources
Yeah.
that should be at least close to being free,
Yeah.
we see it really mushrooming.
Yeah.
Because even with the quality of water that more and more people are doubting.
Yeah.
And you can see people, when you do groceries, I don't know if you guys see it in your areas, but when
We
you
buy
go
water.
and people include water in their grocery
It's
list.
part of grocery
It's
list.
quite incredible.
And the world is 70 to 80% water. Where's the water?
And it's so weird that in most of our communities, the same problem that's happening in
Yeah.
Alexander and Mamelodi, it's happening in the West Rand.
Yeah.
Every week there's a pipe that bursts.
Yeah.
Every week there's water shortage. And it's, you know, I was saying this to one of the young people, like, it's even weird how all of this is happening.
Yeah.
There's a certain part in the West Rand where it's frequent. Like every week we know there's no way 7 days is gonna pass and there's not gonna be a shortage of water. And then there's a different side where there is water,
Yeah.
but the problem is the electricity.
Imagine.
So
Yeah,
it's
so
like
If it's not one, it's the other.
Correct. It's like now you need to make a choice. You either stay in that section where there'll be an abundance of electricity, but you might not have water, or you go that side where there's
water, but you are in the dark. It's
so
madness.
weird.
And
Yeah.
mind you, I live in the CBD.
Yeah.
And again, you would think the CBD should be the most thriving place
Yeah.
in the economic hub.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to disappoint you. It's
Yeah.
not.
It's not working.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Sia, you asked a very important question. That in 2026, why is there still water shortage? When, I mean, there's all technologies, there's all sorts of engineering, there's all this knowledge that we have, there's borehole drilling, there's JoJo tanks, there's, you know, it's just to commercialize these resources. Now there's the water mafia that has brought it up. There's just so many corrupt things that are happening in our government, in our nation, that it's just embarrassing.
It looks like social ills are at the highest.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot happening. Sometimes I don't know about you guys. Sometimes you'll wake up in the morning and be like, "Ay, Bosana, what is happening in the world?"
Yeah.
Particularly in South Africa. And then
Yeah.
you can zoom in into your community
Yeah.
depending on what you're experiencing there.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to push you guys a little bit.
Okay.
Maybe I'll start with you, Clerah. What is the hardest conversation you've had with a child about their future?
That's a good one.
That you may plan, but the mafias will decide.
Hello? Yeah.
You can plan, my child.
Yeah.
You can plan your future and say, look, I want to be A, but someone somewhere is making a very bad decision on your behalf.
Jeez. Yeah.
And regardless of whether your parent is thinking about you in such things, like it's local government election, ne? And parents decide. We decide for our children that this is what I'm voting for because of 1, 2, and 3.
This is the family part.
This is the family part.
Yeah.
This is what we are going for.
Yep.
But you see the decision that your mother or your father is making there, it may greatly affect you.
Absolutely.
You are there planning that I'm going to go to university, I'm going to. But chances of you being able to do what you said you're going to do are very, 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 very tiny.
Yeah.
So you may plan, but they will decide for you. And unfortunately, because now we're seeing, we are not, like we're having more problems than solutions.
Imagine.
It's always one thing or the other with South Africa. It's just always, when you're moving away from this, there's always something greater than what you were dealing with yesterday.
Yeah.
But I really appreciate that there are people like you two. While we're having a lot of problems, you guys are really working on bringing solutions, which is incredibly motivating, if you ask me. I mean, looking at what you do, Clerah, you mentioned a long list of things. And then while my jaw was on the floor, Boitumelo takes the list even further. So I'm really, as much as we have this slew of problems, it looks like we do have good energy of young people that are wanting to see the difference.
Absolutely.
Boitumelo, probably the same question. What is the hardest conversation you've had with young people in your area or you work with in your activism?
For me, it is just how debauchery is exemplified in our community and how children are just watching it and taking it in and thinking it's the way of life. You see? So for me, we have children that are already, even with the work that we do, there's children that are already sampling smoking and drinking at a very young age. So I have a lot of very difficult conversations with young people, children, that are just, this is all they know. You know, dysfunction is all they know. Addiction is all they know. Poverty is all they know. So when you try to plant a seed of that there's a different way of life, it's almost like you're talking about something that's alien, a life that is outside, or a life that's on TV that they can never access. So it's very difficult. It's very difficult that in 2026 there's still children who think this is the end. You know? This is it. Yeah.
But are there pockets of hope in your communities where we do have young people who are doing things?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's major pockets of hope. We've got young people starting forums. We've got young people doing action or even creating little hubs where they can gather and be creative, because a creative mind is the mind of God, you know? And with your mind, you can create a whole new dimension for yourself and your community. So there's a beautiful energy that's rising with these young kids. This generation, is it Generation X or what? What are they called?
Are they not Gen
Z?
Z?
Gen Z. The Gen Zs are on another level. I love them. So I'm very proud of them. They are very, very determined. Yeah, they're very determined to create a different life. I mean, they are watching us, their parents, and their their grandparents, and they can see that something is not connecting here. There's a disconnect.
Yeah.
Why is it that when I go out into the greater world, I leave the township, I go out, I've got my friend who's 16 years, who's driving, who's already, you know, ahead in life, you know? So they want that for themselves. There's no barriers for them. And just like they were in our minds for us. Yeah, there's no self-limiting beliefs there. So I like that.
It's also nice to see that young people are forcing things.
Yeah, they are.
Oh, you're forcing things. You know, there's spaces where you're like, there was a point in time when there was a point in time we are really forcing. There was a point in time when someone would say something or say something about a certain space, and you'd be like, how are you gonna get there? But you see, young people, they are really into the spaces and they're really forcing their way through.
That's true.
You'd see, and you know what I love about the young people of today? Nothing is
exclusive or far away.
What do you mean? When you talk about, for example, you have a campaign or you have something and you want a minister of what and what, they'll say, no, let's go. Let's go. There's no this thing like it's a minister or it's the president. I can't talk to the president. No, they're like, let's go.
That's
minister, I have a problem. We are going to sit down. So it's that. There's so many pockets of hope, especially as someone who is in the youth sector, actively in the youth sector. I guarantee you. I know when there's an issue about something on my phone, there'll be a young person who's saying, I'm reading that one. Let's go. We'll do it. You'll answer.
On that note, do you guys think the governments and all companies are doing enough to protect vulnerable children and vulnerable groups? Or are they being left behind?
From my side, because I'm part of the government.
Yes, we are both looking at you.
We've got the right person in the room.
Right.
Someone who's part of the government and who's, again, actively in the youth sector, they are doing enough. We always talked about let young people in.
Yeah.
If you want people to bring solutions to issues of young people, make sure the young people are the ones giving solutions to that particular problem.
Correct.
You can't ask a 57-year-old about the
issues of a 16-year-old.
Come on,
Like,
that doesn't
come
make sense.
on, yeah.
And a 16-year-old won't feel comfortable talking to a 57-year-old
That's
about
correct.
their issues.
Yeah.
But if there's one person, or if there's an age group that we can all sit down and talk about our problems, it's young people.
Yes.
You understand?
Yeah.
So I think the government has worked tirelessly, especially with the Gauteng Youth Advisory Panel. I think there's 16 of us across Gauteng, different departments. So it's some sort of a... there are representatives of young people in every government department. So when we talk about economic development, there's a premier's advisor in that particular department advising on the issues of young people. When you look at the Department of Education, we have a young person who's deployed in that particular department, speaking on the behalf of young people. So they're actively on the ground in their respective regions and all over Gauteng to ensure that the voices of young people come across in the respective departments. Even though sometimes you get a little push from MECs or ministers, but you are there. You're able to say, we said this month we are doing it. Now you can hold their head and say, we said we are doing it. We are doing it again.
Just to remind us right
it's
there.
right there.
Exactly.
And as well with the youth sector parliament as well. All regions are covered. They're from different commissions, from social cohesion to economic development, to local government elections. So we do have young people on the ground.
Yes.
That the government has actually opened a platform for them to say, we need young people on the ground who are going to talk to the legislative body, who are going to talk to the executive body, while the youth sector parliament reports to the Gauteng provincial legislature, and that Gauteng provincial legislature then reports to the MECs. We have the Gauteng Youth Advisory Panel that has its executive authority where they can report to MECs. MECs can report to the National Assembly. So at least with these two bodies, when you're part of the Premier's advisors and the youth sector, these ones are report to committees and MECs. These ones also report to MECs. MECs can take it to National Assembly. This one take it to National Council of Provinces. So you see, there's a balance and representation for both. We have young people that we know. When we talk about issues of young people, the National Assembly, somehow, it will get to them. Because through that particular MEC who reports to a minister, it will get to Parliament in Cape Town. And through different committees in Gauteng Provincial Legislature, we can definitely to the legislature. You see, now there's a link. You know that whatever I do on the left, it is happening on the right.
Brilliant.
Because now as young people, we had to learn that we need to work in collaboration.
Absolutely.
It's not going to work if the Gauteng Youth Advisory Panel does it alone. It's never going to work. But it can work if when the other one is pushing the executive body this side, this other one is pushing the legislative authority this side. Then we can come together and say, what have you done? This is what I have done. Let's do it together. So the government is working tirelessly to ensure that the right young people come forward.
Yes.
Just come forward. Stop this thing of saying, but it's not going to make a difference. It's not going to make a difference by you sitting at home.
If we need to move.
We need to move. It's the same as local government elections. If you don't vote, we are going to vote.
The same thing.
We will decide for you. So when the government is calling out young people to say, let's have a conversation, let's not go there with a mindset of fighting and leaving a room because we are robust. Let's go out there and say, look, let's sit down and talk about the problems and the solutions that we have.
Clerah,
brilliant.
Before hearing from Boitumelo, but is this what you're talking about? Because I'm very aware of the youth activism or a youth involvement in the West Rand and the mayor thereof in that area. But is that the makeup that is happening across the
board?
country?
Because
or some some regions are lagging behind in involving these bodies of youth within governance?
You know, when we look at different regions have different problems, and we have different approaches to the problems that we have. So when we look at the West Rand, I'll give an example of the West Rand. Ne? When we look at the youth of the West Rand, we don't sit and say, what's next? Look, we know the solutions to the problems that we have.
Yeah.
And we know, when I always say, when we look at the youth of the West Rand, we know the group of young people to call in every situation.
Yeah.
So when we talk about unemployment and poverty alleviation, we know which townships to gather.
Yeah, okay. Where to focus?
Where to focus. When we talk about water scarcity, energy, we know which group of young people to gather to work with. What we're trying to do is trying to sort of like teach one. Since we have a network of other young people in other regions.
Yeah.
If you see something that we are doing in the West End that you think you want to adopt in your respective region, we are always welcome to. You're always welcome to engage with us, because we do the same thing with other regions as well.
Yeah.
If we see something unique, for example, in Tshwane, we sit down with other honorable members to say, hey, we see something different in Tshwane. How are you guys doing this and this?
Yeah.
How do you think we can implement it?
Yeah.
You know? So it's all about reaching out. If you see something being done that you want to happen in your respective region, reach out.
Yes, unity
ask for help.
consciousness. Yeah.
Ask for help. It's okay to say, hey, we don't understand that part.
Yeah.
Can you guys come and educate us? How is that done? So I think it's all about reaching out and asking for help.
Yeah.
Boitumelo, coming back, I'd like to make this link of young people who are involved in legislature and who are in the legislature. There are two groups.
Yes, there's authoritative, the executive body, and there's legislative body.
Yeah. But remember, looking at that, I'm not sure how is the arrangement in your region.
Sure.
And if that kind of setting is there.
Yeah.
But maybe this question may lead us to that. What needs to change actually now to fix the water crisis or water access? And maybe like you can, from a broad sense of view, but also using such bodies as Clerah is mentioning, and she actually sits in one of them.
Yeah.
So like what do you think needs to change?
Well, you know, from a legislative point of view, I'm not very well versed on that. But I can tell you what needs to change from a person-to-person, household-to-household point of view. People need to be ahead of the impending doom of not having water coming out of taps for months, if not years on end. People need to start harvesting water. People need to start knowing how to purify water. People need to create, or maybe you can purchase these carbon water filters, these multi-layered carbon water filters. There's reverse osmosis that can be done with water, reusing water, you know? So there's so many things. We need to just create awareness. Our people don't know. They feel helpless. So, and we don't have a very active, young, legislative and policy-making, vibe where I come from, right? Yeah. But we have young people that are tired of living in these circumstances.
Yeah.
So, just from a grassroots level, people need to know how to protect themselves against food resilience situations that people don't have food. And the food that they do have is contaminated. Now there's issues of water. There's issues of power. People sit without electricity for weeks and weeks on end. So we need to educate ourselves, create awareness about sustainable ways of living, green energy, and what I mentioned about being able to harvest water and purify water at home. These are simple things. Building wind turbines, and building your own solar panels and harnessing your own energy. These things can be done.
can be.
Yeah, they can be done. We just need to come together, like you said. You know, reach out to to people that are already doing great work in their communities, living sustainable lives.
Wow.
Yeah.
It is. The conversation has been absolutely amazing. Now, I just want to, maybe towards the end of this conversation, it's for me trying to find out from you, basically. Maybe I'll start with you, Clerah, but it's almost the same question around what would real protection of these children that you work with, not only the differently abled ones, but also the children in general. As you mentioned, Boitumelo, that the children, the exposure of children into within this very unkind social justice setting. So what can be done really? What real protection looks like for these children? And maybe as an added part of it, for you, Boitumelo, it's around water. What could be a real solution of water looks like? And how can people hold government accountable when it comes to water access? But let's start with you, Clerah, and then Boitumelo can join in that.
What real protection looks like, it goes hand in hand with what Boitumelo said, awareness. If we want to be able to get to a point as communities where our children, our communities, we are sure that we understand the type of solutions that you're giving, that let's harvest water. Let's start with our children. That's the first step we can take. It's ensuring that our children, we start teaching them the basics.
Yes.
This is how you harvest water.
Correct.
My child.
Yeah.
Let's you know, some things are not really as far-fetched or difficult. We can start planting the seeds now.
Correct.
With them.
That when it's raining outside, put a bucket,
Put
buckets.
a bucket outside.
You know?
You understand? Put a bucket outside. Imagine 10, 15 years later, if we teach them now how to harvest water. It means we're not gonna be spending money on water. Because now they will grow up with the mindset that when it's raining, take a bucket, put it outside. When you're done taking a bath, take that water, put it somewhere so that you at least have water to
water the plants, do something.
So awareness, make sure that we train them, we make them aware of the problems that we have in our communities, making sure that they're active participants, and making sure that they lead conversations of climate change, and making sure that they're aware of the issues in their respective communities and the solutions as well. We shouldn't look at children as children and then they don't see what's happening. They see what's happening. Absolutely. And chances of them having solutions are very high.
Absolutely.
They're very smart
They're
individuals.
very conscious beings.
Very conscious beings. We're talking about people who can hold their phone for like 30 minutes and then they figure it out so quick. And you're like, how did you do that?
Hey.
You know? I mean, come on, we are that generation. I was like, hey, I don't know what's happening with my phone. Like, can you do something here?
And they know. And 3-4 years.
Exactly what to do. So it can't be so difficult to call in the same people and say, how do we harvest water? How do we make sure water stays with us for a long time? How do we make sure that we save water? How do we make sure these are the people who are going to give us the solutions?
Absolutely.
And once they give us, how to grow our food.
Grow our own food.
You know, we can have such trainings for children to ensure that they are capacitated with the knowledge that they need.
Absolutely. We were doing that. We were doing an in-schools agricultural expo, working with Food Resilience Unit in Deep Kloof. They were giving us seeds. We were going to schools, children between the grades of grade 3 and matric. We were teaching them how to grow their own little backyard gardens. And they grew in the school and they were responsible for their own garden at school. We'd give them seeds to go grow at home as well. And this was something that gave these kids autonomy, that I can grow food. I can provide for my family. Do you understand? Yes, it's brilliant. They're willing, these kids, and they're ready. Yeah.
And how can our listeners support or advocate for children in these communities, whether they're affected by mine tailings, sinkholes, drugs, water shortages,
poverty, social ills,
How can our supporters really be part of the change? What would be the invitation there?
Number 1, sign petitions. Sign Greenpeace petitions. They really make a difference.
Sign those petitions.
Sign
please.
petitions, lobby, take action, toi to your councillor's office, be heard, take up the space, and make the change.
Be vocal.
Be vocal.
Stop sitting there and expecting things to come.
Exactly.
Because when you are complaining, it's not going to happen automatically.
Yeah.
What we always say to young people, you are not unique.
Yes.
You are not special. There's nothing special about you. I always tell young people, you are special to your parents. Those are the only people that see you and say, oh, my child, you are special.
Yeah.
In the world out there, you are not special.
You are just another.
You are just another number.
Yeah.
No one is going to hand you anything on a silver platter.
Yeah.
No one is going to care about your feelings or your emotions.
Yeah.
No one is going to roll out a red carpet. No one is going to run around with a box of tissues because when you're complaining.
The world does not owe you anything.
The world does not owe you anything. Don't listen to Shakespeare. He died a long time ago, that one. He didn't experience the problems that we do.
Oh dear.
Do something. If you see a problem, come up with a solution.
Stand up with a solution.
If you see other communities doing what you want to do, reach out.
Yes.
But this thing of sitting there and crying and feeling sorry for yourself, no one cares.
Yeah.
The world is big. How many people are in the world?
Yes.
And you think you're going to care about you because
Billions,
you are
that I
in
can say.
Motlakeng and then you don't have water. No
Yeah.
one cares about your problems.
No one.
Go out there and sort out. If you don't sort out your problems, if you can't figure out what your problem is, there has to be a community that is doing what you want to do.
Oh, exactly.
Go to them and ask for help.
Yeah.
But this thing of sitting there and complaining about the government,
It's never gonna work.
It's never gonna work. You're going to be an uncle. That uncle that we spoke
We
about.
were talking
in the morning,
about
and
that
aunties
uncle
who eat
and those aunties.
balonis and cheese.
It's about
Nabaskulu.
Not the uncles catching strays working.
Hey, uncle, we see you.
We see you. Stop this thing of complaining and whining. Whenever there are community meetings, even community members know that all you're going to do is whine. You're not going to come with solutions.
You want solutions.
You are not special. Remember, you're special to your mother and your father and your favorite auntie. We, other people, we don't care. We don't care.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that was a
That's a
reality
good
check.
one. That's a good one. Well, we needed it.
I believe it's not like we don't care. It's just that you can't complain and
All
expect
the
things
time.
to happen.
No.
Come on.
No.
We are sugoma and do something or
And
find information.
And the thing about people who always complain, when there are people who come with solutions, they will see the negative.
Correct.
In what other people are trying to do.
Injured.
All you do is always complain. But when the same people who are coming with solutions sit down and say, okay, this is the solution. It's like, it's not going to work. How do you know it's not going to work if you haven't done anything?
Yeah.
Now you want us to hold your hand and say, no, this is a job. Apply. This is a Z83. This is no. You have a phone. You have unlimited data. What are you doing with your phone?
Come on.
Educate yourself.
That's true.
Capacitate yourself.
That's true.
Go outside and mingle and network with like-minded young people. You'll see things differently. You will see that life is not one lens. You can actually use different lenses.
Come
Go
out of
out
your
there.
community. You're so right. Babule matlo.
Snai.
Babule matlo.
Now a quick one.
Yeah, that's a beautiful one.
Quick 3 things. Are you hopeful or worried? You choose. Hopeful or worried?
I'm hopeful because I believe in the power of the people. I'm very hopeful. Yeah.
I can't be worried because I'm leading a group of young people who are hopeful.
Yeah.
Aish!
Yeah.
Did you get that?
Yeah. That, twing, twing, twing.
Leading a group of
Clock that. Hopeful young
people.
people.
Amazing.
Cannot be disheartened.
One thing that people should stop immediately. Stop doing immediately. One thing.
Complaining and sitting on their
I wanted
laurels.
us to say together.
Yeah. Complaining.
Let's say it together.
Yeah. Complaining. Stop complaining.
And then what one thing that people should start doing immediately?
Taking action.
Do something.
Do something, anything.
Anything,
Write a letter to your counselor, to your local counselor, and tell him your grievances. Collect, do surveys, do petitions, sign petitions that are being offered online because your name is another number and we become one big number.
Use
You know,
your TikTok account to make videos on
Yes.
social issues, on community issues.
Yeah.
Go to your municipality and
Yes.
demand to engage with the with the MMCs and the
Yes.
mayors. They're
Correct.
not far, those people. They are right
They're
there
right
in your
here.
community. But this
Yeah.
thing of you complaining, it's wrong. Go open an organization.
Yes, start forums.
Start forums and
Wow.
build collaborations and partnerships. When you want a job, make sure that whatever that you're studying for, it's a career that's in demand. We can't all be educators.
and that's going to help
You
your
can't all be
immediate
educators.
community. Okay?
How?
Yeah.
Not all, we can't all be educators and nurses.
How?
And
Yes,
all of
yes.
us are studying LLBs.
Wow. Confirm.
Who's studying environmental science?
Exactly.
Who's
Biochemistry.
Yes.
Biochemistry.
Yeah.
Guys, come on.
Agriculture.
Agriculture.
Oh,
But this thing of studying the same thing, it's
Wow.
oversaturated.
But anyway, the invitation
Fire,
here is that let's diversify.
Yes.
Let's be
Yes.
entrepreneurs. Let's look at green technology. There are
Yeah.
so many opportunities that are coming with
Yes.
the just transition and green economy, green hydrogen. There are so many things.
So
that are
many.
happening. Let's open our eyes as young people and find and do those and find entrepreneurship within our communities to uplift each other, right?
Untapped
There's
sectors.
so much untapped. Actually, all the pollution and the injustices we see in our communities, those are opportunities, right?
Exactly.
It's not a white problem.
If we channel our energy correctly and engage with the right people and talk right things, I think we have a lot we can do, yeah?
Absolutely.
Okay. What one message you want people to carry after listening to this?
That you are the guardian of this planet. It is your responsibility to make sure that this planet is here even 4, 5, 10 generations to come. So you have to make decisions today that exemplify that you know you are the guardian of this planet. Don't do stupid things. Do things that will sustain this planet, your immediate community, for generations to come. That's it.
I wanted to say something, but
Yeah.
it's going to be controversial, so it's fine. What I want young people to take from this conversation is we are not the future, we are the now.
Yes. Yes.
You can't be 35 and think you are the future.
How? Eh? Yes, yes.
You are the now.
Clerah has issues.
No,
I can
Clara's here
tell.
to drop the truth.
To burst the
I'm
bubble.
here to drop the truth.
You can't
Okay.
be 35
Yeah.
and think you are the
As
future.
Sinkholes
No.
say,
Already, by next year, you are out of the bracket there.
Yeah.
So if you are not going to sit here
Yeah.
and complain for the next until you are 35, you are going to be 36
And 66.
and
anytime
bother
soon.
us
Hey.
with our monies.
Hey.
So please, you are responsible for your actions.
Yeah.
And whatever that you do, remember that history does not forget.
No.
You are responsible for everything that you do.
Yeah.
We are done with the mentality of blaming our parents for certain things.
Or
that are
even
happening.
apartheid.
Apartheid.
Colonizers. No, it's over. It's time
over.
for newness
It's
now.
over.
Yeah.
Imagine now when you drop out of school because, and now what are you going to say to your children?
Eh? But
So just whatever that you do, think of yourself. Wabana, if there's one person that you must always think of pleasing and making happy and making sure that they're in a good space is yourself. Before any other person, whether career-wise, you are the one person who, after studying whatever that you're studying, you're going to have to wake up every day for
And
the
go
rest of
there.
your life and do whatever that you're studying.
Yeah.
So make sure that whatever decisions that you make, these are the solutions these are the decisions that you make.
Correct.
They are not influenced by someone else.
Yeah.
Make yourself happy, and history does not forget. It will
Amen.
always remind you of the decisions that you took.
That's a fact.
There you have it. Climate justice, environmental justice are here to stay. They are shaping our lives. They are shaping the way of living. So it's quite important as we choose careers, as we engage with the future, as we imagine the future we want to live in and see, to keep these in mind. keep them in the mirror. There's a beautiful song, Keep Me in the Mirror, but never let go of the road. You see that one? You need to take these ones into account. And the two ladies here have explained it beautifully on how climate change and in social injustice really show up in our communities and disadvantage us, but also somewhat show us opportunities to be innovative, to be involved, to be vocal, to be active. This is an invitation to act. I'm your host, Siyabonga Myeza, with my two ladies, Clerah and Boitumelo, signing out. Thank you.